Now that it's been out for over a year and the initial excitement of a huge new DLC for New Horizons has worn off, I wanted to take a look back at Happy Home Paradise and answer a question that I've had commented on my videos quite a lot, especially after so many people have gotten the main game over the holiday season. This question is Happy Home Paradise really worth buying? I mean, based on the fact it has Nico in it, I'd say it's worth it. I mean, look how cute he is. But okay, let's take a proper look at Happy Home Paradise and see if it's really held its value. First launching in November 2021 alongside the 2.0 update, Happy Home Paradise is our very first major paid DLC for an Animal Crossing game. It's basically a revamp of Happy Home Paradise, a game that launched back on the 3DS in 2015 as a spin-off of the main franchise. If you played that original game, then you'll be very familiar with a majority of the concepts used here in the DLC. Lottie even returns from Happy Home Designer as the head honcho of this whole operation, so you should definitely remember her. If you didn't play Happy Home Designer, then the general gist is that you're tasked to create vacation homes for the hundreds of characters in the game, turn a fairly rundown island into something more special, again, and just generally flex your design skills with the many options that this mode has available to you. It definitely takes some theming from our main island where you're turning this deserted island into something much more special, hence Happy Home Paradise. Now, the thing about this DLC is that it is 100% geared towards people who like to design. If this is something you really don't enjoy, then almost immediately I can say you probably won't get much value out of Happy Home Paradise. Although there are some story-based elements as you're repairing the island and working towards an exciting event at the end that I'll try not to spoil in this video, the main feature here really is designing these homes. Even the features that you unlock here for your main island, which I'll talk more about later, are basically all geared towards designing. I know there are a lot of people who aren't designers and maybe really dislike this part of the franchise, so this DLC probably isn't for you sadly. As we all know, the Animal Crossing franchise has leaned more and more into designing as each game has gone by, and Happy Home Paradise is no exception to this. Now, if you do like designing, then this might be the perfect thing for you. Although it is worth considering that what you do here is largely separate from your main island with a few exceptions. In a way, Happy Home Paradise really is like its own separate game, much like Happy Home Designer was. I remember when I first played it, I really thought this could be its own separate spin-off game and Nintendo would have probably still made a lot of money from it, but it was probably a smart idea to add it as a DLC for New Horizons, which of course is basically one of their best-selling games on the Switch and kind of all time. Not to mention that having the two directly connected is a really smart and convenient idea, and it definitely encourages you to play this DLC a lot more than you would have if it was a separate game. There are definitely some really useful connections in Happy Home Paradise. For example, you can unlock several home designing features by the time you've finished with the DLC, which you can use back on your main island. This includes things like partition walls, pillars, countertops, and even the ability to mess around with the lighting, sound, and more within your own home. Not to mention that by the end, you'll be able to customize your own villager houses on your island however you like, which is an absolutely huge addition to the series and probably one of the best quality of life improvements ever. Home designing especially gets a major upgrade when you've got the DLC, which is definitely something that can feel tricky for a lot of players. I know personally I find designing the outside of my island much easier than I do my homes, so Happy Home Paradise really does lend you a bit of a hand there, and not to mention that by designing the villager homes you get a lot of practice with design as well, which can be incredibly useful and beneficial for your main island. This also isn't to mention the hundreds of items that become easily available thanks to Wardell and his huge catalog, which will grow as you discover more items when designing vacation homes for the villages that show up. These features alone make the DLC worth it for me personally, because they genuinely improve your ability to design your own island so much in many different ways. It would have been a big shame if these were all locked to just the DLC, and I think Nintendo realized this pretty quickly on and decided to make sure that we could use them in tandem with the main game. Back to the archipelago, the main feature of the DLC is designing vacation homes as I've mentioned. You'll be doing this a lot, and it's something you'll have to do in order to progress the story. How much effort you want to put into designing each home is entirely up to you, but really, given this is the DLC's main feature, hopefully it's something you do actually enjoy doing. For me personally, I really like designing all kinds of interesting and sometimes weird homes for these random villagers who show up on the beach, all of which will offer you a theme that you need to abide by at least a little bit. You get a lot of creative freedom, which makes the design process a lot more fluid than it is on your main island, which honestly does make me wish that we had some of these tools back there too. It kind of makes me feel a little bit jealous. I do feel like after a while, the process of designing homes can feel a bit monotonous, but thankfully the game doesn't really force you to keep designing home after home. It's honestly okay to take breaks and come back to the archipelago whenever you're ready. I wanted to mention this because I know it's something that a lot of people worry about with Animal Crossing, so there's not too much pressure with this DLC, thankfully. You even get to design all of the buildings around the island, like a school, hospital, and multiple other venues which villagers will enjoy and even work at, which is honestly so cool. The level of interactions you see here with the villagers is crazy, and it will make you wish they did all of this back on your main island too. It would have been amazing if we could have created some of these buildings back home and had our villagers work there. Sadly, it is indeed very much locked Happy in Paradise, but it's still really cool when the island is basically finished, and you can really enjoy all of the facilities and see the progress made and that you've designed yourself. So, my answer overall would be yes, Happy in Paradise is worth it, if you enjoy designing. If you don't, and especially if you really dislike it, then it probably isn't. Since this mode is so similar to Happy Home Designer, if you already played that game then you might find yourself feeling some deja vu with this DLC, but I still think it stands on its own quite nicely. As I mentioned, the features you unlock and bring over to your main island are also a huge selling point for designers. In my opinion, Nintendo did a fantastic job with this DLC, and it really does feel like the right kind of addition to New Horizons. I think it would have been nice to see another DLC pack alongside this which have been geared towards non-designers. That would have been great too, but sadly that isn't something we got. Another question I've seen a lot is, should you buy the DLC separately or get it alongside your Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack? Well, my question to you would be, do you just play Animal Crossing, or are you interested in trying other games too? If the answer is the former, then buy this separately, and overall I feel you'll save some more money. I know a lot of my viewers just play Animal Crossing, so this option would make the most sense. If you do play other games, maybe see what the expansion pack is offering and judge whether you'd really play some of these games, as well as the other DLC packs that are offered alongside the membership. It's important to remember that if you lose access to your Switch Online membership, you will lose access to the DLC, however, you'll still keep the features you've unlocked. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below though. Do you think Happy in Paradise is worth it? Should other people purchase it, and do you feel like it held its value? If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to comment Bob's Gang down below so I know that you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications for more videos.